Jordan, Executive Assistant to the Superintendent, and today we have Tanya Bray, Principal of Winton Woods Primary South School in Springfield Township, with one of her teachers, Linda Carroll, who is a first grade ELL teacher. ELL stands for English Language Learners.
Thank you, Jeanette. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is an exciting time for our district, and we're coming upon a lot of new changes here. And can you share with us about the program that you established at Primary South?
Sure, I'd love to. The program is called the Latino Literacy Project, and it services our ELL Hispanic families that are in our school. It came about because myself and a group of teachers, we noticed that there was a need for some type of reading support for our Latino families.
Okay.
The parents at conferences were expressing concerns because they weren't able to read with their students because they didn't speak our language and they couldn't read our language. So then we started looking for some kind of program that could assist them.
Wow. So how many ELL teachers are at Primary South?
We have 2 ELL teachers in first grade and 2 in second grade, and then we also have an ESL tutor who pulls students out and works in small groups.
Great. Can you describe what the SIOP program is and how that helps our ELL population in your classroom and other classrooms at Primary South?
Sure. The SIOP program is a sheltered program where it's a combination of the ELL students along with the non-ELL students. And we really focus a lot on their speaking and listening targeted skills, and it really benefits them because they're able to have the non-ELL students used as examples for language and building their language vocabulary. And so we all had to go through a SIOP training, all the teachers did, to be able to be a part of the program. And like I said before, we kind of all recognized a need that we needed some kind of support.
Right.
And so we found this program called the Latino Literacy Project.
Okay. Well, going back to the Latino Literacy Project, when did you establish this project and how often do you meet?
We established it, this is our second year doing it. 2 years ago, we found the program. It's based out of California, and basically what it does, it's a bilingual reading program where there's books that on one side are English and one side are in Spanish.
Okay.
And again, the reason why we came up with it is not only because of the parents' need for it, but also the data. The data showed that our demographics are changing, and we've had a huge influx, as you know, of Latino families move into our district.
Right.
In fact, at North and South, I believe we're like at 18-19% of our population.
This is true.
Is Latino or ELL students.
Right. Currently, we have at Primary South approximately 92 ESL students.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's growing, and over the 3 years, we noticed a trend that I believe it's like 50%. It has increased like 50% over the last 3 years.
Correct.
So we expect it just to continue to grow.
Right.
And we also looked at the reading data for the third grade reading proficiency scores, and we noticed that in third grade especially, there was a large gap in their proficiency.
Right.
So those are the 3 things that really made us push us to find something.
Okay.
So the way the program works is it's an evening program. We meet with the families 8 to 10 weeks, one night a week. They bring their children with them. So we have daycare, which is really nice.
That is awesome.
Because we want to make it really easy for the families to come.
Right.
So we provided daycare for them. And the really cool thing is we got some assistance from the high school ambassadors.
I know.
And that was neat.
That was really neat
cool.
for them to service their time in that way.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that. So they do some of the daycare for our students and for their siblings.
Right, exactly. So the families come, and it's about a 2-hour program in the evening, like I said, one night a week, and the ambassadors would come, and they had a sign-up sheet, and they would sign up for the weeks that they wanted to come, and they would come and sit in a classroom that was right next to the classroom where the adults were, and we had planned activities for the kids. We encouraged the parents to bring their children's homework with them, because homework is a struggle for them at home, again, because of the language barrier.
Right.
So here the student ambassadors were able to help them with their homework.
Right.
So that was really helpful.
That's awesome.
That was a good support.
Now you mentioned that there are language barriers. So we have parents that are not English speaking parents.
Right.
So how are you able to communicate with those parents so that they can help their children at home in your program?
Right. There's 3 teachers that ran the program, myself, Mrs. Nolan, and Mrs. Padilla.
Okay.
Mrs. Padilla is fluent in Spanish, so you have to have someone who's fluent in Spanish
Definitely.
to make the program successful.
Right.
But it's also important that you have English-speaking teachers there too, because part of the program is we're also teaching the parents some English. So we're working on vocabulary skills with them. We're teaching them conversation skills, like how to introduce themselves, how to introduce their children. So there was some part of the program worked into where we were working on those skills. So it was very beneficial. So with Mrs. Padilla there being fluent in Spanish,
Right.
She was able to communicate to them in their language.
Okay.
So that was really, really neat. The one thing I wanted to mention is probably one of the things that I thought was really cool is at the beginning of the program, the parents are very nervous and shy about reading the books, because part of the program is that they read aloud the stories and we talk about the books. And the books are all culturally relevant.
Okay.
So they have like
How neat.
historical, things that they can relate to.
Right,
Because
right.
we know that you want to make connections with your kids
Yes.
with the stories you're reading. But the really nice thing is that you saw them growing and becoming more confident as the program went on. So at the beginning of the program, they were like really shy
Right.
about reading,
Right.
even sometimes reading the Spanish part.
Right.
But by the end of the session, they were even trying to start reading some of the English words.
Right.
So it was really fun to watch them
Okay.
get excited about it. And
So it also gives them time to collaborate with other families
Right.
and get to know
Yes.
the
It's
community.
like a community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
So what kind of resources did you use besides the books to assist them with the language barrier and so that they can help their children at home? Were there
Right.
any other resources
Yes.
besides
The
those
kit,
books?
the district bought the kit for the Latino literacy, and in
Okay.
the kit came 20 books and 20 copies of each book.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like a lending library. It would be like you going to the library and getting a book to read to your child at home, and then you bring it
Okay.
back the week later.
That makes sense.
So they take it home and they read it
Yeah.
all week long.
Okay.
And then there were also support materials like worksheets and activity sheets that were in English and in Spanish that were provided with the kit. And then the families each made a family album, and it was like a scrapbook.
Okay.
And so the kit was provided a 3-ring binder, and we got portable cameras that came with the kit, so they got to take pictures of them, their children reading with them, and it really
Wow.
became like a family scrapbook. And
That's
so
so neat.
that was really, and they work on that while they're at the session, and then they also take it home with them and work on it at
Okay.
home. So at the end, they have like a scrapbook of family history and heritage. Like one of the activities, they write a letter to their child about what it was like when they were a child
How
living
neat.
in El Salvador
Oh my
or living
gosh.
in Mexico. And
Wow.
they write a letter to their child about their hopes and dreams for them.
Right,
So the program really hits all different types of aspects to get the parents to really be supportive of their children and their development.
Well, I think you guys are doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, thanks.
So I heard you mention that there is a timeline. So does this program start in, let's say, August and end through the duration of the school year, or are there 2 separate times when you all meet,
Right.
or how long do they have with you all to spend in order to get some of those literacy skills?
The program is set up to be either an 8 or 10-week program.
Okay.
And you use the same books. So what we did was we divided it into 2 sessions. So we had a session in the fall, and what we did was we introduced the program at open house. Do you remember you gave us a table,
yes,
and we had
yes.
some parents there, and they showed the video of what the program
were
was
so
like. Yeah, they
excited.
were very excited.
Very
And then we had a sign-up sheet that night.
Okay.
And then, so we started the program in October.
Okay.
And then we had a second session in the spring. The October session, I think, was more well received. We had a higher volume of parents. I think for a lot of reasons, I think it's the beginning of the school year, so parents are more eager to get started.
And then probably the word of mouth. So
Exactly,
once you get a
yes.
few parents
Right.
that come in and participate, then the word gets out.
But we have enough room for 20 families
Okay.
because there's 20 copies of each book, and so it's set up that way. So if you take the program, if you do the program in the fall, you don't do it in the spring because it's the same program.
Right.
It's just a repeat of the same
Right,
program.
right. So Do you all anticipate that this is going district-wide? From what I understand, both primary schools have been involved, the elementary school, the intermediate school?
Not yet. We haven't. So far we've just have pulled from kindergarten through 4th grade. But there is a program that is for middle school. They have a high school program with the Latino literacy that is all geared on college readiness and getting kids interested and thinking about college. And so that's another aspect or another avenue we could go to. We just need to find teachers that are willing to facilitate that. But I think it would be very valuable if we could have it go all the way up through the high school years. So, but I'm hoping for us that we might be able to just extend it to maybe 5th and 6th grade.
That would be awesome.
As you mentioned.
Because I see in our students the growth that our students have made, and the families are more receptive in coming in, and they try to communicate more. And I try to share some of my Spanish skills.
You have some Spanish skills, I know.
So it would be great to extend it across all our schools in the district.
Definitely.
Because our Latino population is growing.
We just need people to volunteer to do the program at the different buildings. But it's a really good program. The other thing I just wanted to quickly mention is that one of the things that they have in the program is they suggest that you offer to have like a family dinner. And so we suggested that to our families, and they really took off with that. And it was so cool because each family picked a night to bring dinner for the whole group. So we shared a meal together.
That's awesome.
And we had some awesome food. Authentic food. Because the first couple of weeks it was Mrs. Padilla and Mrs. Nolan and I bringing the food, and we were bringing like pizza and just spaghetti. And I think they were kind of looking at us and we're like, well, do you guys want to start bringing? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll start bringing in our food. And it was, I mean, I got introduced to all kinds of really fantastic authentic Mexican and Latino cuisine. That was just really so again, that's just building that community.
Definitely.
And so
So going back a little bit, where did this program originate? How did this come about in terms of the historical piece of it?
It started in California. And I actually did some research on it for my master's when I was in my master's program, and I was just researching just Latino reading programs, and this one came up, and it's based out of California, where the Latino population, of course, is very large. And when we went to the training, I mean, most of the schools were from like Texas, out west, Colorado. California. Some in Chicago. There's a little pocket in Chicago. But so it's historically started out west in California. And it was a former teacher who came up with the program, and she was an ELL teacher. And so she kind of saw the same need that we see, and decided that we really needed to get bilingual books out there for our families, so that they could have the same experience that you and I have with our own children, with reading to our children every night. We tell our parents to read to their kids every night, but if you don't speak the language,
then how can you do that?
Exactly. So this gave them a way to have that opportunity.
That's
to
awesome.
Read with their children.
Well, I want to say I think it's a great thing that you're doing. I think Ms. Nolan and Ms. Padilla and yourself have done a wonderful job with the program.
Thank you.
And I definitely see the improvement in our students, in our families, and I really think it should be a district-wide program.
I would like to see that happen.
Definitely. But thank you so much for taking your time and coming here this evening.
Oh, I appreciate you bringing it to the attention of everyone in the community, and if anyone has any questions, they can call our school.
Definitely.
If they're interested in either being part of the program or doing being in the program next year, because we'll have it again next year.
Definitely.
In the fall.
Well, our school is Primary South. If you're interested in our Latino literacy program and would like to volunteer, please contact our school at 619-2470. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
Thank you.